Hello there, everyone, and welcome along to this week's Desk Break Yoga session. And today we are going to be doing a little session to help give you a bit of an energy boost. I'm going to be doing some postures that help to get the body moving, some breath work that helps to get your mind firing on all cylinders again. So it's going to be a slightly more dynamic class than some of the ones we've done before. But hopefully you will feel the benefits afterwards. And I still promise it's not going to be that challenging. You can do it in no matter what you're wearing, and all you need is a chair and nothing else, no other equipment or anything like that. If you haven't come along to one of these sessions before, then do just take care of yourself. Anything that I suggest that doesn't feel right for your body, then just feel free to skip it or do something a little bit different that does feel better in your body. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So as I say, you just need any kind of chair. If the only chair that you've got's got wheels on it, then just adjust it so that you can get your feet flat on the floor. You might want to kick off your shoes or your slippers if you're at home or whatever, so that you can really feel your feet in contact with the floor. And then I encourage you just to come towards the edge of your seat so that you're not leaning, slouching back on the back of the seat, but using your core muscles to help to keep you upright. So, coming to sitting, and then we'll just start today with a little what's called clearing breath and a little kind of getting the shoulders moving to start with here. So I'm going to invite you to inhale, and as you inhale, kind of scrunch your shoulders up towards your ears, and then hold it for as long as feels comfortable for you, and then exhale, drop your shoulders down, and sigh out the breath. So we'll repeat that a couple more times. Inhaling, bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, and then let it go, dropping the shoulders down, imagining letting go of any tension or any kind of stale energy, things like that that might have built up. We'll do one more. Inhaling, lifting the shoulders up towards the ears, and then sigh it out. And then just coming into stillness here. And just taking a couple of moments, maybe closing the eyes or looking down towards the floor, just to scan your body and see where you're at today. See if there's any parts of the body that are particularly speaking to you more than others, but don't get attached to that. Just notice and move on. And then noticing how your breath is today. And again, at this point, we're not trying to change it at all. We're just noticing and seeing where you're at. Maybe deepening the breath slightly. Taking one nice deep breath in. And just landing where we are. Okay, so opening the eyes or lifting the gaze back up. And we'll just start off with some little circles for the neck, first of all. So imagining that you had a pencil or a crayon or something like that on the end of your nose. We're just drawing circles with the nose, maybe making it bigger and bigger. Don't worry if there's a bit of crunchiness in your neck. That's completely normal for most people. And then once your circle's really big, then let's take it back in the opposite direction. So whichever way you've been going, just flip it and go the other way. And then maybe now the circles are getting a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller, and trying to keep your face kind of level with the front. So the circles, you're just sort of taking your face round rather than going really far back with the neck, because that can be a little bit tough on the back of the neck. Okay, so make your circle come smaller and smaller and smaller until you come back to stillness. Then let's get the arms moving as well. So we'll start off just with some circles of the wrists, just starting to get everything moving here, really getting into the wrists, into the fingers, and then starting to make those circles a little bit bigger. So starting to involve the forearms, the elbows, and then letting them get even bigger until you start to involve the shoulders as well. And then getting some nice big stretches here. Opening up through the chest, through the shoulders. And then once you feel like your circle's as big as it can go, let's flip it and take it back in the opposite direction. So these big movements here are great for just involving lots of muscles, really moving energy around the body, moving the lymph system, and just helping to boost your energy. So once you've done really big in the opposite direction, we're just getting a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, and again, just coming back down until you're just doing fingers and wrists. Okay. From there, let's come up to standing. So if we're going to get things moving around, and for those of you that come regularly, could probably guess this one's coming. It's a great one for, again, just getting everything moving, getting the body warmed up a bit, and start with the feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Bend your knees, so just nice and relaxed in the knees so we're not jarring them, and just let your body swing from side to side, letting the arms just flop around you a bit like wet spaghetti. And taking the head with you as you go. So there's nothing to look at on the screen, just go with it. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, really. And you might even want to lift up the heel on the back leg as you go round again, particularly if that helps to protect your knees. You might experiment with the arms coming higher up or lower down. But really, this is just getting everything moving, which is what we want for a good energy boost. Now we'll do that a few more times, and then just slowing it down and slowly coming back to the middle, back to center. From here, let's stand up nice and tall. Now we've warmed up through the spine a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of a twist. So checking in with your feet, making sure you're nice and balanced, weight evenly between the two feet, and then standing up nice and tall, engaging the legs, engaging the abdominal muscles, not really stiff, we're not talking kind of sergeant major here, but just enough to just help support everything, rolling the shoulders back and down, and then checking in with your head and your neck, lengthening up through the crown. So from there, let's take the arms out to the side like the angel of the north. So you want them in about a line with your shoulders, the thumbs facing up. And first of all, we'll just hold the arms here for a little bit. Now this can get tiring quite quickly. That's completely normal, but it's also when we engage some of the really big muscles in the body, that's a really good way of starting to kind of wake everything up. So pressing the palms of the hands back, the thumbs are pointing upwards. And then from here, we're just going to take a twist round. So again, relaxing, bending the knees a little bit just to help protect them. And just coming as far as feels right for you. Taking the head round with you. And then back to center. And then we'll go around to the other side. So again, bending the knees a little bit. Opening up to the side, turning your head with you. and coming back to center. Those arms are maybe starting to get quite tired now, but as I say, that's good. Warming everything up, moving the energy around. So just hold them for one more second. Then let's drop them down. So let's from here do a little, it's kind of a combination of a stretch and a little breathing exercise, which is great for getting rid of tension and kind of really helping to energize the body as well, and kind of wake up the mind too. So from standing nice and tall as we were, nicely aligned, bending the knees a little bit, and then reaching the arms up and overhead, then inhaling here. And then as you exhale, a bit like we did at the beginning of the class, just letting everything drop. And go ahead and make a bit of noise as well, especially if you're on your own. Inhaling, reaching up, and then exhale, just let everything flop down. And you can go with as much force as you want here. Inhaling, reaching up, and then just let everything fall. And we'll just take a little hang down here, bend the knees, just let the head hang down. You can imagine any tension or anything else kind of dripping off the top of your head, rinsing away. We're not worrying here about touching the toes. That's not what it's about. It's about stretching out through the back. So bend the knees as much as you need to, and either let the hands hang or you can even clasp your elbows. And if that helps you to take your mind off whether or not you can touch your toes. Then from there, let's just gently inhale, tuck the chin in, engage the abdominal muscles, and just roll gently up to standing, stacking up through the spine, aligning up through the body, head lifting up. Okay, so from there, I'm going to introduce you to something which I have done before in this class, but maybe not for quite a long time. So this might be new to some of you, which is called chair pose. Now, chair pose is amazing at waking up the thigh muscles. It's a great way of kind of warming you up as well if you're cold. It really gets everything moving, but it can be quite hard work. So just do as much as feels right for you. But it's also a fantastic functional exercise when it comes to being able to kind of get up and down off a chair, which some people find challenging. So from standing up, nice and tall, we're going to just sit the hips back and down as if you were going to sit on a chair behind you, but we're not. We're kind of hovering. And you don't need to come very far down. So it doesn't matter if your version of it is here or if you are down here. What you do want to do though is make sure you keep the weight back into the heels rather than in the toes. And you can even lift up your toes to experiment with that. Make sure that you're keeping your weight back, because then that takes the pressure out of the knees. If this is bothering your knees at all, though, again, just come up a little bit and make it a little bit of a shallower chair pose. And you're probably already starting to feel those thigh muscles really turning on there. Now, from there, we'll just press up through the heels and come up to standing. Take a little rest, maybe shake the legs out a little bit. And then we'll practice that one more time. So, as I say, maybe have a little bit of a shake out, a little bit of a rest, and then getting ready to go again, taking the hips back as if you were coming to sit on a chair behind you, keeping the weight in your heels, keeping your knees back. So it's really kind of going backwards rather than, we're not kind of just coming straight down, we're taking the hips back over. And then, as I say, you probably start to feel the thighs really working. Try and keep your chest up and your back straight if you can. And then we'll inhale, come back up, and again have a little shake out of the legs there. So we're going to come back to that kind of chair pose idea a little bit later on. We're working our way up to full eagle pose. But first of all, let's just go with the arm movement for eagle pose as well, because that's another great one for kind of um, almost like wringing out the upper body. So first of all, we'll just start by taking the hands up and out as we did before. And then this time, just give yourself a big hug. Another good way of warming yourself up. If you're feeling cold, give yourself a big hug. And then we will open that out and we'll swap it. So whichever arm was on top, we'll bring the other one on top now. And we're just starting to warm up through the shoulders and through the back to get ready for eagle pose. And when we come on to the next bit, I'm going to suggest if it does not work for your body, then feel free just to come back to this pose here with the arms crossed over and hugging the body. Okay, so from there, let's come out, take the arms out. And this time, we're going to bend the right arm and bring the left arm underneath and kind of almost stack both of your elbows on top of each other. So we've got the right arm on top, the left arm underneath. From there, maybe you might bring the backs of the hands together. Maybe you might be able to kind of cross over again so that you're kind of hooking the fingers and the thumb together. So maybe you've just got the hands here, or maybe you're crossing over again. Whichever variation you're in, you're probably now feeling quite a big stretch across the back of the shoulders, the upper arms. Keep the abdominal muscles engaged slightly just to help to protect your back here, keep you upright. And then we're not going to stay too long because we're going to come back into this in a minute and include the legs as well. So just release that, have a little bit of a shake out. And then coming out again. And this time we're going to bring the left elbow on top, the right one underneath. And again, this idea of kind of stacking your elbows. Remember, if this doesn't work for you, you can just go back to the hugging that we were doing before. And again, either backs of the palms together, so just keep your hands there, or maybe you wrap round again. So you've got your arms really kind of twisted into each other. And then once you come into the shape, just breathe. It's quite a tough one, this, but it's such a good stretch out for the back and the shoulders. And as I say, we're getting the lymphatic system moving here by kind of squeezing parts of the body and then releasing them, which helps to get everything moving around again. And then we'll release that and have a little bit of a shake out. And I think before we go on to doing the full eagle, so we're going to come back to that in a minute, let's just have a little bit of a stretch out with a downward dog on your chair. So just come to the back of your chair. If you've got a wheelie chair, you might want to do this onto a table or even the wall. You could do it onto if that feels a bit more stable. Bringing your hands to the back of the chair and then just walking your hips back, walking your feet back until you come into a nice long stretch here. And just come as far as feels good for your body. But the main thing you want to focus on here is the hips coming back. So it doesn't matter if you bend your knees. It doesn't matter if your head, if you don't quite look the same as I do. The important thing is that your hips are pulling back and that you're feeling a good stretch all the way through your back, up into the shoulders. Maybe you take a little wiggle side to side if that would feel good with the hips. And then we'll slowly walk it back up again. Oh. And that's another good one for starting to feel the energy moving around the body as you come back up. Okay, let's have a look at full eagle pose then now. So I'll show you the legs first of all, because I haven't shown you them yet. And as I said, it would involve coming back to the kind of chair pose thing. So for eagle legs, it's a bit like chair pose in that you kind of bend the legs a little bit, the hips, the weight going backwards rather than forwards. And then you pick up one leg and cross it over and then kind of sit down into that. I don't know if you can kind of see from where you are. Now, if the sitting down thing and the crossings, it's a bit of a balance, which is great for concentration and great for giving you that kind of mental boost. But if taking your foot up is not for you today, then just keep your toe on the ground and almost kind of stack your knees together and kind of sit down from there. I don't want anybody kind of falling and knocking their head on the table or anything like that. Okay, so from here, let's start with the arms. So we'll bring the right arm on top, the left one underneath, stacking the elbows there. Maybe backs of the hands together, maybe you wrap it around, or maybe you're just sticking with the hug. Any of those is fine. And then from there, bending the knees a bit, lifting up the right leg and crossing it over the left, maybe keeping the toes down on the ground, or maybe lifting the toes up so that you're just balancing on your left leg. Don't worry if you're a bit wobbly. As you can see, I am trying to talk and do this all at the same time. It's not always easy. And we're not going to stay for too long. Let's straighten up, unravel everything, have a bit of a shake out. And then let's give that a go on the other side. Now, don't, if it went a bit wrong on that side, just leave it be. This is a new side. Everybody, particularly when it comes to balance, is very asymmetrical. So approach this as a whole new day. Okay, so we'll do the arms first of all. This time the left elbow is coming underneath and the right arm is on top. Maybe you cross over and then bending into the knees, that kind of idea of sort of sitting down, weight in the heels, and then lifting up your left leg this time, and maybe just bringing the toes to the ground and just being here, or maybe you experiment with lifting up that left foot into this eagle pose here. And as I say, if you wobbly, that's completely normal. And remember to breathe as well as you're doing this. There's a lot going on. As I say, things like this where there's a lot going on are really good for concentration and for kind of a mental wipe. Okay, let's unravel there. Sort of wiping the slate clean, because it's very hard to think about anything else when you're doing a pose that's so complicated and with the balance and everything like that as well. Okay, so our last posture today is going to be a star pose. So I'm going to invite you, it's kind of the opposite of what we've just done. I'm going to invite you to bring your feet as wide as you feel comfortable doing in whatever you're wearing and whatever the floor is. This probably isn't going to be super wide like you might do if you go to a regular yoga class, and possibly because of the clothes you're wearing, maybe because you're not on a mat. So, take it a little bit narrower than maybe you would normally do. Don't overdo it. And then bringing the arms up and out so you're into a big X shape here. Check in with your torso, so make sure that you're kind of not sticking your bum out or bringing a big arch into the spine here. We want to kind of tuck that under a little bit, engaging the abdominal muscles a little bit, just to keep the spine nice and upright. And really here what you're doing is you are just holding space for yourself. So you've done the hard work coming along to this session. This is almost like your reward. This is your space. You are entitled to this space and to this time. So really stretching up. One more breath here. And then we'll exhale. Bring the hands together down in front of your heart. Heel toe, heel toe. Walk the feet back together. And then we'll stand up tall here. Bring your thumbs to rest on your chest. Think about lifting your chest up to meet your thumbs. And then I invite you to close your eyes or look down and bring your attention inwards again. And again, just having a quick scan round the body and seeing how you feel now. As I say, the aim was to give you a little bit of an energy boost. So maybe checking in with the body, checking in with the mind, checking in with how you're feeling. Giving yourself a little mental pat on the back for making the time to come along today. Do something that's good for you mentally and physically and spiritually. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths here just to finish. Then opening your eyes or bringing your head up again. And then that is where we will finish for today. So thank you very much for sharing your time and energy with me and everybody else. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.